I'm going to play you a video now, Jeremy, that you don't know about. Don't worry, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Here we are.
I hope so.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a good thing. It's a surprise for you as well, I think. That's why I'm doing it. It's a message from Noam Chomsky.
In the executive offices of fossil fuel producers, weapons manufacturers, the financial institutions that fund them, euphoria is unconstrained as new prospects are opening to destroy organized human society, along with much of the rest of life, and to do so expeditiously and with profit beyond the dreams of avarice. There are new investments for fossil fuel production decades ahead, more ingenious ways to destroy everything in a single blow. Government policies are enhancing, encouraging the relentless march towards bringing the short-lived human experiment to an end. Well, do we have to accept this outcome? Do we have to resign ourselves to it? It's a choice. It's not a necessity. Power centers are making that choice very visibly before our eyes, but it's not graven in stone. Working people around the world can rise up, divert our course to a very different path of peace and justice, a world that's not only livable, but a lot better than this one. We know how to do it. The ways are available. To every one of the grave problems that are confronting us, solutions are available. They're known. They're worked out in detail. They're feasible. They're well within our means. What's missing is the will and the dedication to pursue them. Not alone. Alone, there's no hope, but united in solidarity with commitment to mutual support to advance the common good, the long-standing goal of the working movements around the world. Together, in such organizations as the Peace and Justice Project, we can lead the way for escape from the grim future that is being planned by the current masters of the economy and our political life. It's our choice, every one of us, a choice that cannot be dismissed. We must undertake it with dedication and commitment together.
Now, Noam Chomsky recorded that last night, so he wanted to contribute to the show and to leave a message. At the start, he's talking about how bleak the situation is. How do you feel?
Well, it is bleak. I want to say a huge thank you to Noam for the support he's given us, for the incredible output of his writings over all his life. And even in his 90s, or particularly in his 90s, as he puts it, he's continuing to do all of that. And it's an absolute honor and pleasure to be able to work with him and alongside him. We had a wonderful meeting in Sao Paulo when we went over to the final round of the presidential election in Brazil to support Lula. And we had a good discussion with Noam about the struggles that Lula will face in the presidency, about the global arms race and arms trade that is so damaging to the economies and particularly of the poorest people on the planet. And I was able to give him some hope and some nourishment by offering him a jar of my homemade jam to keep him going. And he was he very graciously received it. And it is an absolute pleasure to work with him, because he's right. The environmental issues that face this planet are absolutely central to everything. But you wouldn't know it if you confined yourself to reading how should I put it, conventional economics theories, and listen to what the financial press write all the time. The reality is we cannot go on exploiting the world's natural resources in the way that we do. We cannot go on polluting the atmosphere. We cannot go on destroying the biodiversity of our planet without there being massive consequences later down the line. Now, practically, how do you do something about that? And so we provided a venue. We booked Webster's Theatre for a week in the West End of Glasgow, and we hosted a whole series of environmental discussions that week, and gave space for people, particularly people that had come from all parts of the world, to have those debates and discussions, to give an alternative to a lot of the greenwash that was going on in the conference centre itself. And we also gave voice to the refuse workers and the firefighters who have deal with the consequences of climate and deal with the issues of lack of recycling and so on within our society. And so we had those debates and discussions, but also gave an opportunity for miscarriage of justice that are environmentally linked, such as the Truth About Zane campaign, this little boy who lost his life from hydrogen cyanide poisoning because the River Thames flooded a waste dump, which then flooded his house, and he died from it, and his dad was permanently disabled as a result of it. That is another consequence of our lack of respect and concern for the environment and the natural world. So environment issues are crucial, and we worked with Just Stop Oil. I had a very interesting meeting of Just Stop Oil the other day, and I know they get caned in the press day in, day out. The point I made to them was, you have raised the issues. You have set people's minds thinking. When the suffragettes started militant street action before the First World War, they were condemned by everybody, every newspaper and so on, and got not much support from anyone in prominent positions. Here we are now, more than a century later, they're seen as saints and heroines of the early part of the 20th century. And as Tony Benn said, that they might condemn you when you do something, condemn you in your lifetime, but later on they extol you.
Yeah. I mean, just that Lara sent me a picture just so people can see what you talking to Noam Chomsky in Brazil. And I'm not sure when the jam was exchanged, but he looks like he's looking for it there.
No, the jam is in Noam's hand there, and
Is it?
as you can see, it's
he's got it. He's got it.
It's a special edition of blackberry and apple jam with a Peace and Justice label on the lid. And I was explaining to him, perhaps in rather too much detail, exactly how this jam was made.
Oh, okay.
But
That's fantastic.
I have to say, we had just arrived on an overnight flight when we met him, actually.